The laziest form of training in anime.
Deliberate self-reflection and self-betterment are one of the few things we as humans have over animals. Of course, as most aspects of humanity tend
No, lions do that too.
to go, this has inevitably become reflected in the stories that we make and tell. To that end, one of the most engaging aspects of storytelling is watching a character who starts from nothing, slowly developing
It goes to nothing. It's my favorite story.
into a protagonist who is mountains beyond where they started, whether that be based on maturity, power, or both. Thus,
Man, power is way better than maturity. Fuck maturity. We want power.
there is a massive responsibility on the author, not just to make this process engaging, but to also make it mean something. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, they do not. There are many different ways to achieve character progress.
I don't understand this thing with the finger. You're gonna have your finger super strong and that's it.
Some of which we'll
You're
cover
gonna have a super powerful finger.
later on in this video. But before that, we need to talk about the most problematic form of training. Enter the brute force training approach. The easiest way to make your character develop without actually putting any actual thought into it. You've seen it before because it's everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know if abs are gonna help you to throw a more powerful
have a
light ball. I don't
protagonist
know.
who you need to be stronger. Why take them through difficult and complicated trials which make them analyze their own abilities, when instead, you could give them a couple of weights and have them do a non-distinct amount of push-ups, and suddenly, bam. Just like that, the protagonist is as strong
this one is the most boring of all, because it's just, I want to see the repetition. No. I want to see some weird thing, like he's gonna give his ass, like some demon is gonna steal this guy's ass, something like that. And then he's stronger.
It's boring. You know this is boring. Everyone knows this is boring. I don't get excited when I see a character doing push-ups or the same move over and over. I get excited when a character's growth is actually being
and the character picks his eye.
thought through. So why do authors write like this? What can you do instead? And what are some terrible and standout examples of how you actually define your protagonist's progress? Well, in this video, that's what we're going to find out. So stick around. You might just learn something.
No, I don't like learning.
Basic concepts behind the brute force training approach is pretty simple. If you've ever been to the gym before or trained for a sport, you'll understand the concept. The more you do something, the better you get, whether that be lifting weights or running, or I don't know, the more of you
sleeping too, because if you sleep a lot, you're gonna get good at it.
subscribe, the bigger the subscriber count will grow, so do that please, subscribe. In the case of fictional power systems, it's typically something like use the same special attack enough and it'll get stronger, or fight enough opponents and you'll just become
Man, the animation here is so awesome. I love the
better at
animation of
fighting.
this season.
For a writer, this is a very convenient way of building up a character's progress without actually having to think of any particularly interesting ways to make them improve. You just rinse and repeat.
And this training is terrible.
Now, I'm not saying this form of progression is inherently wrong. In fact, almost every single shonen series incorporates it to some capacity. But just like any other trope, there are limits to how much you can actually pull it off before it begins to detract from your writing.
Only brute force heavy, oh my god.
And one of the most egregious case studies of this is found in none other than Dragon Ball, the series that arguably
But Dragon Ball, it's simple. Let's get strong and
made
punch
this
those
form
guys.
of linear
And that's it.
progression popular in the first place. Let's do an exercise. Let's take a fight from the tail end of the series and compare it to a fight from the near beginning. From the most part, the only notable difference you'll find is the current color of Goku's hair and his invisible power level.
Oh, this is a hot take.
This is because progression in Dragon Ball follows the exact same cycle of train for a while.
I like it. I like this perspective. I kind of agree. I love Dragon Ball, but I kind of agree.
Beat up by the current antagonist, get stronger, then power up and win. Goku rarely has to contemplate ways of defeating his opponents. He simply has to train under tougher and tougher conditions, and eventually the problem will be solved. Even outside of just this basic cycle, the repetitiveness of improvement in Dragon Ball is literally baked into the power system itself. Zenkai boosts are massive bursts of power that Saiyans receive after
when people sleep inside of this water
recovering
capsule.
from near fatal injuries. From a
Man, this is my form of training. I have a pool, and I get inside my pool, and I just sleep inside the pool like a fish sleeping, and I do that every day. And now
this completely trivializes
now I can see difference.
A massive portion of combat, and is one of the laziest systems I've ever seen implemented into a power system. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, but Goku could literally keep throwing himself at a problem, change nothing about his strategy, and as long as he's able to recover, he will eventually become strong enough to beat them.
But I think it's because this is a brute force world, like everybody universe, everybody's like a Tyger.
And it's not like Goku never learns new techniques. Instant transmission, Kaioken, Ultra Instinct, these are all non-linear ways in which Goku was able to progress in strength that massively changed how he fought his opponents. But moments like these are so rare that for the vast majority of the series, all you're left with is brute force problem solving.
And screaming solving too. Man, you need to use screaming to solve your problems. I use that all the time. When every problem I have, I start screaming like an incredible, insane dude.
If Goku grew like that more often, learning new techniques or using pre-existing techniques in more strategic ways, the narrative behind his fights would be so much more interesting. But instead, 99% of the time, he simply gets to do the same thing over and over again until the problem is out of his way. So, how are you meant to progress your characters? Well, outside of the brute force approach, I believe there are two other better ways to bolster a character.
Yes, reading books and kissing your grandmother with affection and hugging your aunts.
Which both require the slightest bits of actual effort. Let's start with the evolutionary approach. The evolutionary approach to power progression is all about unlocking new abilities that naturally extend from a character's core skill set. Instead of relying on simple stat increases, this method treats a character's growth like a skill tree, branching outwards in response to new challenges, environments, and opponents.
This is better than brute force.
New ability isn't necessarily stronger. It's contextual, unlocked because the situation demanded it. The result is a character whose power set feels like a reflection of their journey, rather than a flat reward for going through a training arc. A perfect example of this is Isagi Yoichi from Blue Lock. At the start of the series,
the soccer anime has a better power system than Dragon Ball. This is it.
Isagi has two clear weapons, spatial awareness and his direct shot. But as the story goes on, Isagi is constantly thrown into situations where these base tools aren't enough. While there are points in the story where Isagi will get better through the brute force approach,
now he's gonna do the dolls, the sacrifice, the needles inside the dolls to become stronger.
Like when he spams shots against the robot goalkeeper, this is never the focus. His rapid evolution is. When he notices his reliance on his right leg,
wait, man, they're playing with puzzles inside of balls.
He learns
what the fuck? This is a very different soccer game.
To shoot with his left, before evolving further to combine this with a feint, making the two-gun volley. When he realizes his spatial awareness isn't enough, he evolves it further into metavision, the ability to read the entire field using peripheral vision and mental processing, before further evolving it to predict.
Wait, is this the soccer anime? Like, the guy just transformed the universe into puzzles.
The feature of the field itself. These are not random power-ups, they're natural extensions of what he already had, grown out of necessity, shaped by experience, and rooted in his character. The best part of all of this is that Isagi doesn't abandon any of his old skills like some other series would do. He layers them. Every new evolution builds up on the last.
Yeah, I've never seen Naruto becoming Senin again, and it's the way he became in the first place.
It's quite obvious to see why this is a far more interesting approach than just watching him learn to kick stronger or run faster. Then we have the tactical approach. The tactical approach to character progression doesn't involve unlocking new powers or transformations. Instead, its sole focus is on deepening the
Okay, this is like 1% of all anime, because everything is just, I have a new form now, a new power.
Of what they already have, refining their timing, improving their strategies, and discovering smarter, more inventive ways to apply their pre-existing abilities. While the evolutionary approach is about getting new tools, the tactical approach is about learning to use old tools better. One great example of this is that of Megumi Fushiguro from Jujutsu Kaisen. Megumi starts off the series admittedly a bit of a weakling. Nameless cursed spirits are giving him trouble, and you can generally tell that he isn't actually
I'm sad, my bro is sad.
all that. His cursed energy output is mid-tier, and he's lacking in physical strength compared to characters like Yuji or Todo. However, where Megumi lacks in sheer brute strength, he more than makes up for in versatility. Megumi's ability works because it is inherently modular.
His powers is like summoning rabbits.
Ability
now we're talking. This is a real power.
Can play offense, defense, or utility depending on Megumi's creativity. And we get to see him find some working strategies, then repeatedly apply and improve upon them in new situations. For example, Megumi learns how to deactivate his Shikigami right before his enemies as an effective version of a feint. He learns to use Max Elephant not just to hose down his enemies, but also to crush them. He learns to use his Toad's grappling abilities not just to ensnare people, but also to pull him out of danger.
Wait, this guy's power is interesting. He can control giant frogs.
All of these strategies are like chest openings, and while Megumi's cursed energy output and such does presumably grow throughout the series, this is never the main focus for his improvement. His increasing ability to strategize is. Want another example? Well, there's Jolene Kujo, another character who grows not by refining their strength, but by refining their strategy. Stone Free is an incredibly simple ability on paper. The user can unravel their body into string and use it.
I don't think it's simple. I think throwing fire is more simple.
At mid-range. But throughout Stone Ocean, Jolene manages to take this ability and massively increase its utility. Whether it be reforming herself with string to be bulletproof, using it to stitch up her own wounds, deploying a net to detect movement, or some even more insane stuff. Wow, Jolene's core ability never actually changes or evolves. All that does is her capability to use it. This form
this is so perfect. Oh my god, JoJo is the best.
Progression is much more involved and thought through than just say letting her make longer and more durable string, which is what you'd end up with if you went down the brute force approach, an improvement with very little substance. So, what's the point I'm trying to make here? Well,
there's no point. End of the video.
For starters,
I would like if it was like
I am by no means saying that you shouldn't indulge in some linear progression in your writing every now and again. Most stories don't need their characters to unlock a new ability or a new way to use pre-existing abilities each fight. And to be honest,
and every time I have to throw a trash inside a trash can, I use my total focus, my total spirit, and my soul and my heart at the same time.
It can be just as satisfying to see them improve through sheer dedication.
God, this guy is strong.
And hard work, as it can to see them improve through new strategies or abilities. But the problem begins when that's all you ever rely on. Characters should only be able to go so far through basic repetitive training. A good story will have a little bit of brute force, but lean much more heavily on the evolutionary and tactical approach. So add a little spice here and there. Let your characters grow through some self-reflection, and both your
thinking and meditating with the Bhagavad Gita.
Audience's interest and your story's narrative will massively benefit. Because life is hardly ever a straight line, and as a
life is a gay line. I think
storyteller, your stories need to reflect that. Okay, that's it from me.
Okay, I don't know how to train, to be honest. My only training is dumbing myself down. Like every day I dumb myself down a little bit, and I'm always dumbing myself until one day I don't have to do this anymore because I'm gonna be dumb enough